Beloved, let us begin where the heart longs to end, with a promise that is not of man, not of argument, not of metaphysics, but of spirit. Fear ends in the light of one presence. Not tomorrow, not after a long wrestling match, not when the outer picture gives permission, but now, in the instant one is recognized as one, name one, presence, watch fear unmask itself. This is not bravado. This is not a technique of the human mind. This is the simple truth that darkness does not retire because it has been overpowered by a stronger darkness, but because a light was. And the light is not your flashlight. The light is God. We are not here to battle fear. We are here to see that it was never a power. Fear gathers its force from our believing there are two powers, God and something else, spirit and matter, love and menace, life and its saboteur. There are not two. God is. God is life. God is law. God is love. God is omnipresence. So there is no other presence to threaten. God is omnipotence. So there is no other power to oppose. God is omniscience. So there is no ignorance to frighten. When one is known as one, the suggestion of a second melts, and what you called fear is revealed as a mask laid upon your eyes. Remove the mask, and do you need to fight the face? This hour is not a lecture to convince your intellect. It is an invitation to demonstration. Before we have finished today, we shall give 3 minutes, only 3, to a living recognition, and you will watch fear's performance falter as an actor who suddenly realizes the audience is looking through the costume. It is not our talk that ends fear. It is the presence recognized, the presence realized. Be still and know that I am God. Do not be still and build affirmations about yourself. Be still and know God. Not I am courageous. God is presence. Not I am safe. God is sanctuary. Not I am wise. God is wisdom, expressing as the very activity of your consciousness. Now, slow the breath. No strain. We are not taking a position to defeat an adversary. We are waking to what is already so. I in the midst of you am mighty. Let that be the only announcement in this temple of your awareness. Hear it not as poetry, but as fact. Fear thou not, for I am with thee. I will strengthen thee. Yea, I will help thee. Lo, I am with you always, unto the end of the world. If I am with you always, when precisely is the interval in which fear could be? If I fill all space, where would fear be stored? Do not think I am advising heroics. Human beings walk around with a pocket full of talismans and say, I am fearless, and then check the locks 3 more times. That is not it. Not I am, but God is. Not I have faith in my nerves, but God is the law unto my being. Not I will outshout the night, but God is the light, and the light shineth, and the darkness comprehendeth it not. You see the cadence? It is the rhythm of reality replacing the noise of ego. We are establishing a foundation. There is one presence, and in the acknowledgement of that one, fear is not cured. It is exposed as nothing. You need not bargain with it, plead with it, or rebuke it. You will, in a few quiet minutes, simply recognize one, and witnessing will take the place of worrying. Then the word that is always the last word will speak in you, and as you, I am your refuge and strength, a very present help. Rest, for I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. And when that word is the atmosphere of your being, you will discover that safety was never around you. It was within you, as one presence being all that is. And so let us do the simple thing that turns the river. We reset the language. Most of our trouble has been that we tried to perfume the human with spiritual adjectives and then wondered why the perfume wore off before lunch. I am spiritual. I am perfect. I am harmonious. Say we while, still hunting for the eyeglasses to read the bill and hoping the pen has enough ink to sign the check. Forgive me the smile, but do you see the contradiction? If you are so spiritual and so perfect, what are you doing pawing through drawers for last year's spectacles? The human voice keeps insisting, I am, I am, I am, and the echo that comes back is the very fear it hoped to drown out. That is not sin. It is just the old habit talking. Instead of this I am business, we change our treatment to God is, not because words themselves are magic, but because attention is worship and language directs attention. So, not I am safe, but God is safety here. Not I am wealthy, but the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Not I am wise, but God is wisdom, and wisdom is the very activity of my consciousness. Not I am healed, but God is life unopposed, indivisible, present. Hear the difference? In the first, a persona with eyeglasses and rent to pay is trying to climb into the sky by tugging at his bootstraps. In the second, the sky is simply acknowledged as already present, and the earth looks different under that light. Our master gave us the key, and he gave it plainly. I can of my own self do nothing. Will you let those words do a holy surgery in you? I can of my own self do nothing. And so we look away from persona to presence, from the actor to the life that animates, from the branch to the vine. Then another word rises, the Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. This is how fear's habit structure breaks. The little self loses its script, and the word takes the stage. Language, then, is not a decoration. Language is practice. Each phrase is a door. The door marked I am afraid opens to a room full of mirrors and the same old faces. The door marked God is presence opens to quiet, to law, to sufficiency, to a floor that does not wobble. Try it in your very next breath. The tongue begins, I am, and you halt gently, not with scolding, but with remembrance. Take one slow inhale and let it go, and in that space, give the only announcement that belongs in this temple. God is. God is presence right here. God is law unto my being. God is the light in which I see light. God is the shepherd, and I shall not want. When that cadence takes hold, you will notice the nerves cease composing their sad symphony. A different music is playing. You have not armored a mortal, you have yielded to the immortal. Do not misunderstand me. No heroics, no chest thumping. Human beings walk around with vitamins lined up like soldiers, a burglar alarm blinking, and then mumble, I am fearless, just before checking the locks the fourth time. Let us be honest and be free. Drop the insistence on the little I and rest in the big is. Stand still inside the sentence and see what it reveals. Be still and know that I am God is not an order to inflate your human. It is an invitation to recognize your source. From this moment, let a new rule govern the lips and the heart. Begin with God is. When the bill arrives, God is substance. When the diagnosis whispers, God is life. When the news shouts, God is government, God is order, God is peace, and in the middle of a lonely hallway at 3 a.m, when the shadows try to organize a parade, hear the voice that has never been absent. Fear not, I am with thee. Let that be the last word and the first word. Keep the language clean, and the mind becomes a sanctuary where fear has no seat, for one presence is recognized as all. Now, to make this plain enough for our children to understand, and for the child in us to obey, let me bring out our old friend, the white poodle. A hypnotist stands before a willing subject and says, you see a white poodle on the stage, and bless us, The man sees it. Not only sees it, he smiles at it, he reaches down to pet it, he tells the audience, "Oh, isn't she darling?" And the whole room erupts with laughter because there is no poodle there. Shall we bring in a dog catcher? Do we pass a law forbidding poodles? Do we get a pooper scooper and clean up after an animal that isn't there? No. We wake the man, one word, one touch, and the poodle vanishes. Poof! Not because we murdered it, but because it was never on the stage, it was on the screen of suggestion projected upon his senses. So with fear introduces a poodle into your picture, a loss around the corner, a diagnosis with long teeth, a crisis pacing up and down the stage of your tomorrow. And you, good-hearted and earnest, begin to pet it or fight it or feed it vitamins. You get your leash and your muzzle and, of course, a little sweater for winter. Forgive me the smile, but see what we are doing? We are organizing our lives around a suggestion. We argue with it. We beg it to be reasonable. We even try to baptize it as my spiritual poodle. Stop it. You don't argue with a poodle that isn't there. You wake up. The sages called it the snake in the rope. At dusk, you cross the yard and jump back. There's a snake. The heart gallops. The breath shortens. And already the mind is selecting which saint to invoke and which doctor to call. Someone brings a light, and there, silent and innocent, is a coiled rope. When light enters, does anyone take the rope to the hospital for antivenom? Do you hold a memorial service for the fear that just died? No. You laugh, and the laughter is clean because reality has been seen. The rope did not change. Your seeing did. The entrance of thy words giveth light. And you have stood by the tracks and watched them draw together in the distance, and perhaps as a child you planned to go find the place where they meet. You don't file a brief against the railroad for operating with converging tracks. You do not send a crew to pry them apart over the horizon. You understand perspective. You withdraw belief. You rest. Appearances insist. Reality is silent. Illusion shouts, "Look at me." And reality whispers, "Be still and know that I am God." Now hear the correction of impulse. You don't pet the poodle, medicate the snake, or litigate the tracks. You do not rally the little self to swing a sword at shadows. You withdraw belief. You stand still and let light be light. Not, "I am going to master this fear," but God is the only presence here. Not, "I will prove myself courageous," but God is the law, and suggestion has no law to sustain it. Ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Not your argument, not your volume, not your fists clenched under the blanket at 3 a.m. This is the shift of posture we are making together from the logic of two powers, the spell that says, "Here is God and here is something else," to the contemplative resting in one presence that dissolves the performance. Fear's evidence is hypnotic suggestion. Awakening, not wrestling, ends it. Perfect love casteth out fear. Love is not a human emotion. Love is the nature of God realized as the atmosphere of your consciousness. Where love is realized, fear has no root to drink from and no stage to strut upon. Let me ask you tenderly, what would change in this very hour if, when the rumor rises or the symptom speaks, you remembered the poodle and the rope and the tracks and simply turned on the inner light? Not, "I am fighting," but "I am beholding." Not, "I am fixing," but "I am witnessing." God is presence, God is power, God is wisdom. And in that beholding, you will begin to sense a nearness that is not the nearness of a helper arriving from outside, but the quiet authority of an indwelling one. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. That is where we are going next. Not to a theory, but to a meeting within where the spell breaks, the stage clears, and the only actor left is the presence that has been your life all along. Now, close your eyes and realize, do not imagine. Realize there is something called I, nearer than breathing, closer than hands and feet. Not the eye that signs checks or searches for the eyeglasses, but the eye that was before Abraham was, the life that is the light of men. Be still, and let this eye announce itself. I in the midst of you am mighty. Feel how the room changes when that is no longer a sentence on paper, but a presence in your own awareness. Not far off, not approaching, but here. Hear it again, and let it be addressed to you. Lo, I am with you unto the end of the world. I will never leave you nor forsake you. This is not a poster for your wall. It is the Father's voice within your own temple. Our Master taught us the distinction, so we would not confuse the actor with the animating life. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father that dwelleth in me, he doeth the works. So we do not ask a small self to become a great self. We yield a small self to the great I that is presence, power, and wisdom where you are. The moment your attention rests in that I, a communion, begins no words required, though words may come, no strain, though reverence is natural. Your still attention and the still presence touch, and that touch is the Holy Ghost moving. It comes as a hush, a soft lawfulness, a knowing without argument. You do not have to hold your breath like a diver or squeeze your eyelids shut until sparks appear. Relax. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. The kingdom of God is within you, not in crowds or headlines. Let the inner current carry you as on a river that already knows its way to the sea. From this contact, guidance is born without guesswork, safety without sentries, supply without scramble. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want is no longer recital, but event. A word may rise, go this way, wait, speak gently, send the letter now, and you discover it was wiser than your plans. Peace settles in, and fear, having lost its stage, cannot perform. Why? Because only one is recognized. Wherever you stand, at the bedside, in the office, in a midnight hallway, turn within for one breath and let I speak. Fear not, I am with thee. Stay with that one breath longer than habit, and you will feel the yoke of strain slip. This is the secret place of the Most High. Abide, and let the Mighty One live its life as you. I in the midst of you am mighty. Now let us do the simple holy thing. 3 minutes. No heroics, no machinery, no spiritual calisthenics, just recognition. In these 3 minutes, you are not going to inflate a human self. You are going to let God be God where you are. And in that recognition, God is the performance of fear, runs out of script, and the actor wanders off the stage. Be still and know. That is all. Minute 1, breath, and letting be. Ease the breath. Let the body fall back into the chair of itself. Release the shoulders from their soldiering. Unknit the brow. Turn the palms open in your lap. You do not have to lock the knees of your mind. You are not on guard duty. You are at home. Say inwardly, with Samuel's childlike readiness, Speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. Do not make it a chant, make it a door. Speak, Lord, hear. Your breath finds a gentle tide, in and out, and with each exhale, the will to manage the universe goes out with it. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. You are not summoning a distant deity. You are consenting to nearness that already is. Lo, I am with you always. Let those words spread like warm light across the chest and rest. Minute 2, wordless recognition. Now we will not petition. We will not bargain. We will not fix. We will know I am not alone. I am is here. Feel the room within the room, the hush within the hush. There is a presence, silent and alive, knowing and effortless, and it is the life of your life. Listen without ears. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Let it say itself. Not I am brave. God is the atmosphere here. Not I will get through. God is the way here. Do nothing but notice the nearness that notices you. This is the secret place of the Most High. This communion between the two is the Holy Ghost. It asks for nothing. It gives everything calm as law, soft as breath, sure as sunrise. Be still and know that I am God. Minute 3, the litany. Now, with no strain and no rush, we let the word name itself. And after each naming, we rest 2 or 3 beats so the word may take flesh in awareness. God is life. God is light. God is love. God is law. God is the only presence. God is the only power. God is the only power. God is the only cause. Rest. Let the pauses do the work. Let the meanings widen of themselves. Feel how in this naming, something in you stops reaching and starts shining. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Fear has no lines to speak when the stage is occupied by one presence. Perfect love casteth out. Fear not your argument, not your volume, but love realized as the very air of consciousness in which you are breathing now. Now we do not snap the thread. We let it lengthen. Another soft breath, another silent amen. That is not a period, but a continuation. The word has moved from the page into the pulse. The word is made flesh. Open the eyes gently, but do not break the inner contact. Carry the hush with you as a fragrance that does not announce itself and yet fills the room. Rise without leaving. Answer the phone without departing. Wash the dishes with the same presence that kept the 3 minutes. Walk down the hall and let the voice keep speaking in the background. Fear not, I am with thee. And when the day offers you a scene, remember the litany and let the beats of silence return. God is then rest. God is then rest. 3 minutes of pure recognition and the actor called fear cannot find the stage. Keep the contact and the infinite invisible will do the living. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Beloved, take your psalms and bring them home from the stained glass into the living room of your own heart. God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Present where? Not out there scanning the horizon with binoculars. Present where you are, in the midst of you. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. Shadow where? Within the sanctuary of consciousness, where I am. Read it again and hear the inner geography. Refuge is within. Strength is within. Help is within, because I, in the midst of you, am mighty. When presence is recognized as the architecture of your awareness, fear cannot find a breach in the wall. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous runneth into it and is safe. Do not picture a medieval fortress on a hill and then phone the realtor. This tower rises at the instant of recognition. Not stones and battlements, but presence and lawfulness. Not a moat around a frightened self, but a light at the center, dissolving the need for walls. The Lord is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer. Rock where? Not a boulder for your backyard. Rock is the unshakable ground of your being. God is stability. God is shelter. God is the atmosphere in which danger loses its definition. The high tower is not a construction permit. It is contact. Make your daily contact, and you will find the tower already built and the gates already open. Now let us ask our honest question, the one life keeps putting to us in hardware aisles and waiting rooms. Is the steel plate the protection, or is the Word of God the protection? Is it the thicker door, the second lock, the helmet for the mind, the vitamins lined up like soldiers are, these the safety? Or is safety the realization of one presence, the infinite invisible, that governs you without instruments? Our reliance must show our understanding. Use a lock if you will, close the window against the rain, but do not make a god of a hinge. Our protection is the word. Stand still. I am your refuge. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. Stand still where? In the recognition that God is the only presence and the only power here and now. Stand still does not mean paralysis. It means poise. It means letting the inner fortress carry the weight, letting the rock under you be rock, while your hands do what hands must do. This is not poetry to embroider on a pillow. It is architecture for consciousness. Lay the foundation with your litany. God is life. God is law. God is love. Raise the walls by returning, breath by breath, to I in the midst of you. Roof it with trust. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Then, when sound or symptom knocks at the door, you will find you are already inside the tower, and the voice speaks before you answer, Fear not, I am with thee. And now let us see this tower walk down the street with you, because truth that does not enter Tuesday morning is only embroidery, demonstrations, not declarations. Turning to one presence first changes the atmosphere and the outcome. You are standing at the kitchen counter with a rent notice in one hand and a calculator in the other, and the old habit wants to chant, I am wealthy, I am abundant, while rummaging in the couch for quarters. Stop, breathe. God is supply unfolding as necessary form. God is substance, and the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Stand still inside that recognition. Let I in the midst of you announce itself. I am your shepherd. You shall not want. In that shift, you will feel the adrenaline ebb and a quiet competence rise. And then the next right step appears without strain. An idea to make one call, to send one clear message, to rearrange one appointment. The call is returned kindly. Terms are softened. An order you forgot you filled is paid. An overlooked refund clears, or a wiser budget is seen that does not rob tomorrow. We did not pull coins from the air. We let the infinite invisible take the stage as visible form. Stand still and see the salvation of the Lord. See, not scheme. Now, the clinic hallway, the clipboard, the fluorescent lights, the white coat, and here comes the white poodle in a white coat with a long Latin name. It prances and bares its impressive teeth, and your breath tries to follow it. Be still. God is life, whole and indivisible. I am the Lord that healeth thee. Let that be a sanctuary within the very sound of your name being called. Not I am strong enough to beat this, but God is the only life present here. Rest there until the tremor of fear has no instrument to play. You will not grow careless, you will grow clear. You may take the test, you may follow instruction, but the atmosphere has changed. Decisions are made in peace. Questions are asked without panic. And the body, governed by the law of its source, responds to order rather than suggestion. The peace of God, which passeth all understanding, shall keep your hearts and minds. The white poodle cannot perform on a stage already occupied. Headlines roar war there, scarcity here, contagion everywhere, and the old habit runs to windows and wrists. Scroll, measure, brace, turn around, do not look out, look within. God is the only power present here. God is government, God is order, God is peace. He maketh wars to cease unto the end of the earth. Hold to one in the secret place for one breath longer than habit, and then do what you must do. Vote, give, serve, but do it from the fortress, not from the storm. The household feels it. The children quiet. Choices become sane. You become a non-reactor in a reactive world, And that one presence of poise is itself a ministry. It is how the infinite invisible enters rooms that do not yet know its name. And some of you are waiting on a human verdict, the judge's word, the manager's review. Don't look to the judge or the manager for justice. Look to the presence, and let justice present itself as them. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. The king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. In the corridor, outside the courtroom or the conference room, take the 3 minutes, God is law, God is equity, God is order fulfilling itself without partiality. Walk in with that inner contact unbroken. You will find that sharp words blunt themselves, that files are read with new eyes, that what seemed to be against you makes way for fairness, or if correction is due, it is correction with mercy and direction, not humiliation. I have watched employee reviews become collaborations in that very hush. I have watched rulings turn into wise agreements no one had planned in advance. The outer faces did not change first. The atmosphere did, and then the faces followed. What changes when one presence is first? Less adrenaline, cleaner action, less theater, more order, guidance that arrives on time, not as an afterthought. You are not performing piety, you are permitting reality. The infinite invisible arranges its visible letters, lab work, ledgers, legalities without our strain because the stage has been cleared of second powers. Take this as your way. Before you answer, turn within. Before you plan, turn within. Before you fear, turn within. Name one presence and wait 2 beats, and then watch what presents itself to be done and do only that. Not I am fearless, but God is here. And in the midst of the hallway, the office, the kitchen, the courtroom, hear again the voice that never required microphones. Fear not, I am with thee. I in the midst of you am mighty. When one presence is first, a pattern reveals itself as constant as sunrise and as unsensational as a seed sprouting in dark soil. Supply appears where figures said none was possible. Flow emerges where reason saw only stone, and a way opens where maps ended in blue water, manna in the wilderness, water from the rock, a path through the sea. This is not ancient fireworks. It is present law when attention rests in God. God is supply. God is flow. God is way. What you truly rely on rules. You rely on the infinite invisible. Consider the wilderness. No markets, no carts, no storage. And yet, when reliance settled in the holy rather than in hoarding or anxiety, he rained down manna. It came on time enough to make trust a habit and vanity a bore. Consider the rock, no spigot, no pipe, just barrenness yet. He brought forth water out of the rock, flow where flow could not be engineered. Consider the sea with Egypt behind and nothing but drowning ahead. The command was not swim harder, it was go forward, and the waters parted under obedience to an unseen word. Do you see the mechanics? Not grasping, but listening. Not frantic planning, but response to inner instruction. Hold out the rod, step to the brink, speak to the rock. Thy word is a lamp unto my feet, a next step light, not a stadium floodlight for the next decade. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Now let us make the binary plain, for the heart loves to blur lines and then wonder why knees wobble. There is the infinite invisible, and there are finite props. Use the props that appear: a lock for a door, an umbrella in rain, a prudent schedule. Use them as you would a spoon, without kneeling to silverware. Lean on none. Some trust in chariots and some in horses. We remember the name. Not I am safe because I bought the thickest door, but God is my refuge and strength. Not I am supplied because the balance looks fat, but the earth is the Lord's and the fullness thereof. Keep the vitamins if you like. Just don't testify that your faith is in capsules. You can carry a spare tire. Do not pray to rubber. Here is the inner choreography of reliance. First, the hush. Look to me. Look within. Make your daily contact with me. Then, the witness. A quiet yes rises, and with it, a simplicity of next step, call here, wait there, walk this street, skip that trip. My sheep hear my voice. I will instruct thee and teach thee in the way which thou shalt go. I will guide thee with mine eye. You will notice a new timing that is not timid, not reckless, just right. A train missed without regret becomes a deliverance when you hear later of delay. A client you thought lost reappears with an apology you did not script. A child's fever breaks at the end of a lullaby. That was more prayer than tune. Protection arrives without bravado. Provision arrives without trumpet. Guidance arrives without debate. This is how the infinite invisible works. It's visible, without noise, without bargains, without the human chest puffed out to take credit. Your Father knoweth what things ye have need of before ye ask him. It is his good pleasure to give you the kingdom, not your good pressure to wring it out of heaven. Notice the fruit, quiet timing, unexpected provision, uncanny safety that embarrasses fear and honors order. The boast dies because there is no hero. There is only the presence living, its life as you. And the voice continues, intimate and unhurried. Look to me, look within, make your daily contact with me. I am your supply. I am your protection. I am your guide. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Now we come to the quiet arithmetic of transformation. Subtraction, not addition. Not more slogans, not polish on the old suit, but the daily removal of a second power from our believing. Paul said, I die daily. To what must we die? To the anxious persona, Joel, Mary, Bill, the hard-working warrior that peers at weather, wallets, and headlines and then pastes a halo on its brow. Let that dear actor bow off the stage. We will not reform it. We will rest it, while the true life takes the part. God is. God is presence, power, wisdom. We do not kill fear. We starve it. Fear feeds on belief in a second power, on the poodle we keep petting because we think it barks. Today, no more arguing with appearances, no more cross-examining the snake, no more chasing the horizon to pry apart the tracks. Be still and know that I am God. Sit in one presence until the mist thins of its own accord. Not I am winning, but God is all. Not I am brave, but love is the atmosphere here. Let hypnotism wear off in the light rather than drama. This dying is gentle and practical. In the morning, before your name gets dressed, consent, Father, glorify thyself as this day. Not my plan, thy pattern. Then, when temptation comes to measure life by figures or faces, lay a flower on yesterday's coffin and let the worrier be buried again. I die daily, not by violence, but by relinquishment. Put off the old man with his deeds. Put on the new awareness that simply says, God is. God is strength. God is law. God is supply. God is way. Recognition, not resignation. And then the wedding. The mind that hurried meets the presence that never left, and a hush says, I and the Father are one. This is not a human proclaiming equality with God. This is awareness, discovering its source and ceasing to live as an orphan. The sign of maturity is less speech, more stillness, less self-assertion, more God is recognition. You find yourself speaking slowly and doing rightly without rehearsal, not by might, nor by power, but by my Spirit, saith the Lord. The more you rest in one, the more order appears. How do you know hypnotism is wearing off? You forget to be afraid and remember to be present right here. You laugh, and the laughter is clean at the poodle's old tricks. Quiet replaces dramatics. Hold to the contact through small hours. God is. Here within the benediction that seals each little dying with larger life, fear not, I am with thee, yet not I, but the presence liveth in me. Let the second power go. Now if we would not lose the hush that has begun to live under our ribs, we must make of it not a moment but a manner, not a mood but a rule. Never permit a day to pass without this quiet communion. Before the feet touch the floor, 3 minutes. At midday, 3 minutes. Before the lights go out, 3 minutes. If life jostles you and the morning slips by, steal a minute in a restroom stall, at a red light, in an elevator. 3 is not magic, it is mercy. God is. God is presence, power, wisdom. These little appointments are not favors you do for God. They are lifelines that keep your awareness in the secret place where fear has no audience. Pray without ceasing is not a marathon, it is a rhythm. Brief returns, frequent returns, faithful returns to the one. Hand in hand with contact comes language hygiene, because the tongue trains the ear and the ear trains the heart. Retire the amateur metaphysics of I am this and that. I am spiritual. I am perfect. I am harmonious, spoken by a dear human still wearing eyeglasses and hunting for the car keys. Not I am wealthy, but the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Not I am safe, but God is our refuge and strength, a very present help in trouble. Not I will make it, but God is the way here. Set a watch, O Lord, before my mouth. Keep the door of my lips. Let your speech enthrone theophany, not the little actor. Say less about yourself and more about reality. Let your words carry the fragrance of one presence until even your silence speaks. Make for yourself a micro-practice in the moment, a pause, a breath, a single inward naming, God is here, and then 2 beats of quiet so the word can stand up in your midst. At the inbox, at the ringing phone, before you answer the child, before you send the text, God is here, look to me, look within. This is how in all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. Becomes functional, not decorative. The pause is not delay, it is poise. In that heartbeat of consent, the infinite invisible moves from general truth to specific guidance. Speak softly now, wait an hour, say yes to this, no to that. You will find that you do less fixing and more following, less apologizing afterward because you listened beforehand. Keep the boundaries of reliance honest. Do not look to husband or wife or parent or child or boss or judge as source. Love them, honor them, serve them, yes, but meet them after you have looked within, and you will receive them as avenues through which the source may flow, not as the fountain itself. Some trust in chariots, and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. Do not load the marriage with the weight of being your provider, nor the physician with the burden of being your life. I lift up mine eyes unto the hills, whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Then, when provision or wisdom or justice arrives through a person, gratitude rises to God and kindness to the person, and fear cannot blackmail you with the threat of any one human's absence. Hold yourself gently accountable, because memory is a leaky vessel. Keep a simple journal of demonstrations, not to preen, but to remember. Date it. 3 minutes panic in chest, named one presence, peace settled, idea to call Sarah, invoice resolved. Record the little manna as carefully as the parted waters. Bless the Lord, O my soul, and forget not all his benefits. Let results educate your language further, pruning away the I need, I want, I must into God is present as wisdom. God is unfolding form. God is law here. The ledger of grace becomes your teacher, and fear, reading over your shoulder, finds fewer reasons to audition. This is the rule of life, simple and sovereign. Keep the contact, keep the language clean. Miss a morning? Begin at noon. Forget at noon? Begin at dusk. Begin again and again until beginning becomes being. Let the little pauses string themselves into a day like beads, and you will discover that the thread is unbroken. The word will become flesh in gestures and schedules. The tone of your voice will carry a quiet that needs no announcement. Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable, and let the acceptance be this: God is here, God is all. Then fear, finding no second power to lean upon, has nowhere to stand. And the inner voice, faithful and familiar, will keep the cadence. Make your daily contact with me. Keep your speech with me. I, in the midst of you, am mighty. Beloved, we will let the last word be the first word speaking within you. Fear not. I, in the midst of thee, am mighty. I will never leave thee nor forsake thee. Lo, I am with you always, not as a guest who must be entertained, but as your own, life shining itself as you. Be still and let me be what I am. When the phone rings, when the email pings, when the bill looks tall and your courage looks small, hear me before you hear numbers and names. Fear not. I am here. Stand still inside that knowing, and let stillness do the talking. Now we seal the day with what is, not with what might be. God is life. God is light. God is love. God is law. God is the only presence. God is the only power. God is the only cause. God is the way, the truth, and the life, showing forth as your minutes and miles. Let these words walk ahead of you like a lamp for the next step and a song for the next breath. Let them replace the mutterings of the actor who always needs more lines. I am thy fortress and thy song. I am thy rock and thy strong tower. Run into me and be safe. Walk softly now, not timidly, but tenderly, because holiness has weight and you are carrying it. I go before thee to make the crooked places straight. I prepare a table before thee in the presence of every appearance. I keep thee as the apple of mine eye. Take the hush from this hour into the next phone call, the next email, the next bill, and let it decide your tone and your pace. Answer from presence, plan from presence, spend from presence, and you will find that fear ends instantly and then ends again and again as often as you turn to one presence and let me be the last word. And if habit knocks tomorrow with its old briefcase and its poodle on a leash, smile and step back into me before you sign anything. Look to me. Look within. Make your daily contact with me. Keep your speech with me. The blessing is not a ribbon. It is a rhythm. The Lord bless thee and keep thee, because I am thy keeping. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee, because my countenance is within thee. Go in this peace that is not of the world and yet governs every corner of it. Fear not. I am with thee. I, in the midst of thee, am mighty. Let my word finish every scene and begin the next, until scenes become sanctuary and steadfast song within.